Hello, everybody. Dan Schmer here from Blue Courage. I'm happy to spend a few minutes with you and share some thoughts that are important to myself and to those at Blue Courage. In our definition of Blue Courage, the very first sentence is, Blue Courage is a way of being. And so what's this idea of way of being, and where's that come from, and what's it really mean at a little bit of a deeper level? The Arbinger Institute are the ones that kind of coined that phrase, and in their books, Leadership and Self-Deception, and my favorite is The Anatomy of Peace. Two very good writings, and they're the ones that gave us this topic. And so what's this way of being? What's this idea mean? And way of being is how we truly are with people. This is how the Arbinger Institute describes it. They say that behavior is here, and behavior is important. It's vitally important. We don't excuse bad behavior because as it being our way of being. Behavior does matter, but there's something deeper and more important than behavior, and that's our way of being. And so with any behavior, they say it can be done one of two ways of being. And that is that we can be resistant, where we see people as objects, that they appear less than I am. Their concerns don't matter as much as mine do. And I actually resist their humanity, the human dignity that every person is entitled to. And then the other side of that is I can be responsive to their humanity. I can see them as a person. They appear to be as real to me as I am to myself. Their hopes, concerns, dreams, desires are as important to them as they are to me. And I actually respond to that humanity. So it's not a matter of just treating somebody with respect or dignity. It's actually bigger than that. It's actually having that basic human respect and giving them the dignity that all people should get. Even those that challenge us the most at times. We're responsive to their humanity, to their humanness. Okay? And so if we are resistant to them, Arbinger tells us that one of the signs of that is this self-righteousness that we get. If we think we've taught somebody a lesson through our behavior, and we have that self-righteousness, look, I showed them, I taught them. That may be a sign. And they said there's three things that basically people can become to us when we see them as objects, when we're resistant to their humanity. And that is, one, they can become an obstacle. They are simply in my way to achieve what I want to achieve. If I'm going through a promotion process and there's 10 or 15 or 50 of us going through that promotion process, all those other people are just obstacles in my way to get what I want to. If I'm standing in that line at the airport to get through and things are moving slowly, these people are just obstacles. I'm more important. I want to get through there as fast as I can. When I circumvent the rules to get around things, to make things move faster in my life, I have to be careful. Am I being resistant to others' humanity and do that? The other is, they can become vehicles to us. They're just there to get a job done. And I can remember there were times in my career, that's exactly how I felt when the police department. Only thing I was just, when I was a motorcycle officer, I was just a vehicle to get tickets written, to meet those numbers that we had. And then they can become an irrelevance to us. They just simply don't matter. And again, in my career, I know there was times that I felt that way. All I was a name on a lineup sheet, and I was a butt in the seats in that police car to fill that spot, and nothing else really mattered. And this way of being is so foundational in every relationship that we have in life. It's such an important piece to having those. Because if we think about it, how much time in our lives do we spend dealing with things that have gone wrong? And then how much time do we really spend helping things go right? And our way of being is at the foundation of helping things go right. In the book, Leadership and Self-Deception, Anatomy of Peace, the Arbinger Institute talks about what they call the influence pyramid, or the leadership pyramid, the parenting pyramid. And what they say is that the top of the pyramid is dealing with things that have gone wrong. And that top of the pyramid is correction. When something goes wrong, we correction. Kids don't clean the room, you need to clean your room, get it done right now. We have a team member that isn't pulling their weight, we make the corrections. You need to get this done, you need to get done right now. And as long as we stand over the top of them, you know, they'll get it. Sometimes work is the path of least resistance. But how about helping things really go right? So the next step below that part of the pyramid is to teach and communicate. Got that teenage kid that doesn't want to keep their room clean? It's time to teach and communicate why those things are important in our family. That team member that's not pulling their weight and not doing what they need to do, it's time to teach and communicate and understand, so they understand what it is that is expected and how to do that. Well, what happens if that fails? Well, then the next level of pyramid is to listen and learn. If teaching and communicating isn't working, then it's time to listen and learn. Really listen to what it is and to get to the root of what the issue is. Because many times what we think the issue is isn't what the issue is at all. So we have to listen and to learn. What happens if that doesn't work? Then we have to look at building the relationship. The relationship at this point is so fractured that before, you know, we can listen and learn, because now they're not communicating with us, there's no hope to teach and communicate. And the best that we have is to stand over them and micromanage and correct them at every step of the way. And that's just a terrible way to live or to work. And so we have to build that relationship. We have to invest the time in those relationships that really matter. But what if that relationship is so fractured that there's no way that they're ever going to be open to that? All they think it is a ploy, you know, to get something from them. Well, then it's time to build the relationship with others that have influence with them. You know, again, if it's that teenage child, who has the most influence sometimes with those teenage kids? It's their friends. And so it's time to build that relationship. What if it's coworkers? Who's important to them at work? You know, what are the conversations around the water cooler, and who are they listening to? Let's build those relationships. And then even if that can't begin to work, we're forced to look inside of ourselves and say, you know, what is my way of being? As I've gone through the pyramid, what's my way of being? Am I just doing this to get an outcome, so that these obstacles that are in my way, or these vehicles to get something done, you know, or just these irrelevances that don't matter? You know, am I really seeing them with a heart of peace or a heart of war? Because again, going back to that idea of way of being, when I'm resistant, I have a heart of war. All I want to do is you know, set myself up to see how things aren't going. But when I'm going right, but when I have a heart at peace, then I want to help things go right. And that's the most important thing to me. So my way of being is vitally important. So I appreciate your time, and I hope you found this interesting. Thank you so much.